minutes. So, hi everyone and good afternoon. Thank you for coming to the Her Computing 2020 info session. My name is Tanish and my sister Ria and I are going to share some information about our coding camp. So first, we have a short presentation. We'll then answer questions that some parents have submitted in advance. And finally, we'll take more questions from all of you. So Ria, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Ria Tiagi, and I've been coding since elementary school. I specialize in web development and PHP. I also love teaching Scratch. Aside from coding, I enjoy making origami, reading, playing outside, and researching quantum mechanics on Google.
So my name's Tanish, and I've been coding since 4th grade, and I specialize in machine learning and artificial intelligence. I'm a coder on the Melbourne High School robotics team, which qualified for the World Championships last year, and we're runners-up at the New Jersey State Championship as well. So earlier this year, Ria and I participated in multiple hackathons. We placed top 5 at Hack MHS, and we were finalists at a global travel hackathon and the winners of the Youngest Developers Award. So what we believe. Ria and I are both big fans of Apple CEO Tim Cook. We think that coding should be required in every school starting from kindergarten, and it's as important as any second language for both of us.
Okay, so here are some camp logistics. We will be using Zoom Pro to host our camp, and we'll send you all a unique password-protected link to access the classroom. There will be one instructor in each class and a student-to-staff ratio of 5:1. For the game development and web development classes, students will need to have access to a Chromebook or another laptop like a PC or a Mac that has a webcam, microphone, speakers, and an internet connection. For the machine learning course, students will require the same, but must use a PC or Mac because local installation needs to be completed. Okay, next, this is a day in the life of a student. All students and staff will be keeping their cameras on throughout the session. Students will raise their hand via Zoom options or be able to unmute and ask questions directly. During the first part of our class, we will be learning concepts and reviewing code. In the second part, students will work on applying the concepts learned and creating projects. The instructor/TAs will have access to all students' code in real time to review and guide their work and ensure they are progressing per the curriculum. During the last 15 minutes of class, we will be reviewing concepts via friendly online competitions and tournaments using GimKit. Finally, 12 to 12:30 p.m. is optional to attend. Here, students from the morning session and afternoon session can come together for fun activities such as chess tournaments, video game competitions, origami, and Rubik's Cube solving. Okay, so we have 3 courses for students to choose from. For each of these classes, no outside or parent assistance is necessary. First, we have game development. For this, no previous coding experience is required. Next, web development. Some early experience is helpful, but it is not required. And finally, machine learning and AI. Basic programming experience and knowledge is recommended for this course. So now to get into a little bit more detail, here's our first course, our beginner course, Game Development with CS First. There are no prerequisite skills for this course. So in the CS First beginner course, our students will learn essential game development concepts and strategies. Through a series of 9 games using the CS First and Scratch platforms, they will practice scorekeeping, making storylines, scrolling backdrops, building single-player and multiplayer games, adding levels, and using game conditions and effects. During this process, they will grasp valuable computer science concepts such as loops, events, conditions, and data structures such as variables and objects. A few examples of games that we will build are pictured on the slide. On the final day of the camp, students will apply their new knowledge and creativity to build customized games, such as the intuitive Brick Breaker 1 on the bottom right. Since we are receiving many signups for this course, I have split the classes based on grade and created a more advanced curriculum as well, so older students will also be challenged. Through our fun projects and application-focused curriculum, we ensure each child is engaged and hooked to programming so that they continue their computer science journeys even after camp is over. Next, we have our beginner to intermediate course, Web Development. Through this web development course, students will touch up on foundational web development concepts. Then, they will learn various website layout options, such as CSS grids, Flexbox, and Bootstrap 4, and also delve into jQuery and JavaScript. Students will complete the course with a fully interactive website, a real-time COVID statistics page, and a functional calculator, pictured above. Like the game development class, this class will be very application-oriented, full of fun and engaging projects.
So our third course is Machine Learning with Python. So in this course, our students will learn essential computer science concepts, such as object-oriented programming, classes, and functions using Python. We will also learn about the application of various machine learning algorithms. Through a series of 7 projects, students will create back-end programs that can be used to solve real-world problems and display data in an efficient and aesthetically pleasing manner. A few examples of projects that we will build in this class include analyzing movie ratings using text classification and classifying different types of clothes using image recognition. The amazing thing about my machine learning class is that very little programming knowledge is needed to build incredibly cool and useful applications. So here's some additional camp information. We have 2 sessions with AM and PM classes. The cost is $99 for 15 hours of class per week. We understand that some parents are nervous about the effectiveness of online classes, so we want to offer a full refund after the first day if the class does not work out for you or your child. And all proceeds for this camp will go to fundraising for inclusion and technology.
Okay, so the funds we raised from our coding camp last summer were used to refurbish a computer lab in the Valley Settlement House in West Orange and host an awesome after-school coding club for the kids. You can see a picture of all of them above with their new computers.
So here's our table of our list of open classes. If you wish to sign up for any of the full classes, which are the ones highlighted with a blue background, you could email hercomputing@gmail.com to be placed on the wait list. So I know several students from grades 1 to 3 have signed up for this info session. So the class over here highlighted in red would be the best option for their age group. So that's all we have for the presentation. Thank you to all parents who've submitted questions in advance. We'll first answer those and then take more questions.
So right now I'm just going to put here you go. Here's the registration link in the chat, so you guys can register if you would like. And yeah, so now we're going to answer questions that have previously been submitted. So our first question was, does my child need any prior coding experience? How many students are in a session? Our course curriculum has been specifically designed to ensure we can accommodate kids of all coding backgrounds. Our game development using CS First course is our beginner level course and covers basic programming concepts. As for students, there will be a 5-to-1 student to staff ratio for all classes.
So the next question was, how can we prepare our 6 and 8-year-old for the game development class, mentally and digitally? So mentally, little preparation is needed and there are no prerequisite skills. To make the day go more smoothly, you can set your child up with a quiet working area, a computer, some snacks, water, and a ready-to-go lunch. Digitally, ensure that your child understands how to connect to Zoom, which is where our classes will be hosted.
Okay, so next we have, my child has not been exposed to coding. The parents will not be able to assist. Is this the right camp for them? In fact, we have a beginner course, Game Development with CS First, where no coding experience is necessary. We will guide each child every step of the way. In addition, we have access to their code at all times. Previously, we had many first grade students last year who thrived in the game development course without outside assistance.
So the next question is, how will all students stay engaged throughout the class? So every day, there will be multiple fun activities where students will get to interact with each other and solve problems and compete with each other in a friendly environment. So throughout the class, students will have their cameras on and will be constantly interacting with their fellow classmates. We are also following a custom-made project-based curriculum, which is meant to excite our students, as so they will not get caught up in the theory, which can often be complicated and uninteresting. In addition, students from both the morning and afternoon sessions can join us during lunchtime to play games, have chess competitions, and the like.
Okay, so we didn't mention this earlier, but if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat right now, and we will address them soon after we address these previous questions. So next we had, do the students need to be present for the entire 3-hour session? So the daily 3 hours of class time are broken down into 4 parts: concepts, demonstrations, coding problems plus projects, and review. We strongly recommend that students attend the full 3 hours. However, if a student has a conflict, we understand as well. If a child has to miss the concept for the day, please let us know in advance so we can figure out a way to connect and make sure they grasp the material.
So our last question was, will there be any outside material provided for the class, pre and post session? And are there any other books recommended? So we have custom made the curriculum for each of the classes. So there is no preparation required for these classes. We will teach everything during class time. And when the class ends, we will be giving pointers, including book recommendations, to help students continue their coding journeys. However, coding books tend to focus mainly on the theory, while we believe that the best way to learn coding is to learn some concepts and then apply them by writing code, and then continue that cycle.
Okay, so there's a question in the chat just now. Is there any setup needed on the laptop for CS First Camp? And nope, nothing. All you need is an internet connection, and everything is like on the internet. So nothing.
Hey, thanks, Tanish and Ria. I was wondering, how do I know what my child is doing or learning during the class?
So all instructors and teaching assistants will have access to all students' code in real time to review and ensure that they're progressing per the curriculum. We will also be doing daily review sessions via friendly online competitions and tournaments. In addition, if students have any questions, they can raise their hands via the Zoom options or ask questions directly.
I think she might have been trying to say, like, how will we know what our kids are doing? And for that, you guys can really just ask your kids. So if you want to see what your kids are doing in the class, I'd recommend that you ask them, because, ask them to show you a demo of their project or explain the code. This will not only, tell you what they're doing, but also reinforce the students' concepts and boost their confidence.
That's great. Actually, one more follow-up question. How do we, all kids work at different paces. So how would you help the child keep pace with the class if they are not able to follow an online setup?
Oh, Tanish, you previously answered this one. Do you want to just repeat that quickly?
Okay, so all the instructors will have access to the student's code in real time to review. And if the student has any questions, they can just raise their hand via Zoom or ask the question directly through the microphone.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, so anything else? Feel free to unmute or put in the chat.
So will the beginners program be the game development? Is that with Scratch?
Yes, we'll be using Scratch, and we'll be using the CS First platform, the teaching platform, to generate a class and get like starter projects before we develop them all with the Scratch platform.
Anything else?
Thank you. Okay, so I think someone's raising their hand in VT. Do you guys want to ask something?
Anyone else have a question?
For the class.
Oh, how do you prepare for the class? Okay, so there's not really much to do. You can just, sit yourself down on a desk, get a computer with internet access and all. Make sure you have water, lunch, snacks. That's really all you need to do to prepare. And, just get ready to have some fun.
So for the game development class, do you prepare them? Do you explain programming concepts first or constructs first, and then delve into Scratch programming? Or how do you conduct that? And I know you showed it
Yeah.
on the presentation slide, but I kind of didn't quite get it. Like, how do you first impart the knowledge for a beginner level?
Of course. So what we do is, I'll just break it down a little bit more clearly. So first, I'm going to show them like a demonstration of a project that I've made that contains these concepts. Then I will have specific like goals for them to accomplish in the class. You know, like get familiar with Scratch, maybe use these specific Scratch blocks and concepts. And then I will drag out those blocks and help them experiment and show them what they do, like the Scratch blocks. After that, they will use those blocks to create their own projects, and I will guide them every step of the way to make sure they're understanding.
Okay, cool. So they get to build their own projects, not like
Yeah.
there's a set project that they just have to follow the steps. They can learn the concepts and implement in their own project.
Yes, just like there's a basic starter project, like there's a basic set of things, like, but they add their own add-ons and they basically customize it to make it their own.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Anyone else have any other questions? You can put them in the chat or ask directly. Please do not hesitate.
So you
This
guys
was a
are
very
just
helpful
running.
session.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, so you guys are just running for 2 weeks, right? So we got a slot. We signed up for a slot for week 2 p.m. for game development. If you want to do web development, you're not planning to offer any other sessions after the 2 weeks are done, or do you have plans?
Well, right, our camp is running for just the last 2 weeks of July. So if you signed up for a week 2 game development, you could potentially sign up for a web development slot in week 1. But or you could sign up for one of the web development slots in week 2. Let me pull up the.
Yeah, or if you can also switch classes at any time by just emailing us at hercomputing@gmail.com. Maybe you want to do like week 1 game development. Also, if you're not able to attend, we can tutor you privately or work with your child privately outside of the camp.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so assuming there's no other questions, if you have anything else, just don't hesitate to email us at hercomputing@gmail.com.
Yep.
Now I just wanted to thank you everyone for attending the session. We will respond to all questions asked if you email us, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.